Hello, diecast airplane collectors. So we have a relatively recent release here by Herpa. It's a German brand that does a lot of HO 187 scale cars, but they obviously do airplanes as well and some other scales as well. Anyways, this is a pretty historic bomber to my understanding. Yeah, I just thought it looked cool. I made a model kit of this when I was a kid. It's called the B-58A Hustler, as you can see up there. And I guess that is the photograph of that actual plane. There's a registration somewhere on here. Anyways, Herpa has this nice little story thing. Let's see if I can focus, and you can just pause. I found all my information off Wikipedia, so it could be wrong. It could be the same as this, for all I know. There we go, a nice shiny airplane, and apparently there's an engine that's worked loose. I gotta warn you, that happens very often because these things are heavy. They get thrown around. And yeah, I have a B-58. I think it's, yeah, the B-58 giant bomber, and one of the engines was broken and chipped and all that stuff. Most of the time you can just glue it back in place, which I will do off camera. Alright, so this has a registration number, this photograph. This one is taped on both sides. I cut this open. I have no clue how many they produce, but I do know they're always limited. The liveries, maybe not the casting, but this exact registration, once they're done, they're done. So that happens in the commercial and the military. So, unless a different brand does the model. Okay. So we got this clamshell here. This is very typical of diecast airplanes. Keeps everything in place. Also very typical is the plastic to keep the thing from getting scratched from the blister. So let's get this thing going. Oh, yes, let me start reading off some facts here. Convair is the manufacturer of this airplane. This was developed during the 1950s and is the first operational bomber to go Mach 2. It's twice the speed of sound, if you don't know what a Mach is. And it's powered by 4 GE J79 engines, which these pods obviously are. And there's no bomb bay, so very often it's shown with this giant thing. This giant thing is a bomb bay for a nuclear weapon and also fuel. So it's like a dual-use pod there. A little Star Trek looking display stand. It's kind of nice because it actually has printing of the airplane, what it is. Although the text is so small, that's like it'd be like a 6 font or something. Strange that they wouldn't make it a thicker, bolder. Anyways, still nice to have. Okay, let's get all this stuff. Okay. Let's see what kind of damage we have with this engine. Alright, so what other facts here? So later on they added 4 external hardpoints, and so it could carry 5 bombs. So that's what these white things are here, the additional 4. So this is a ladder B-58 Hustler, and look how shiny it is. This entered service in 1960 and only flew for 10 years because the Soviets created the S-75 SAM missiles, surface-to-air missiles, and also this was a fuel hog, and also was prone to accidents because of the delta wing, and also the fuel shifted inside the wings, so it would lose stability if it accelerated or decelerated very quick. Landing was difficult because it was a delta wing. Irregardless, this thing had a member three crew. So, and they're all in tandem. So this picture here, those are the 3 hatches for the crew, all in line. And interesting, they later on, I guess they had pods that could eject at Mach 2. And interestingly, they tested it out on bears and chimpanzees. So, I mean, what does a bear think when it's strapped into a pod and is ejected out of an airplane at Mach 2? That's got to be a strange feeling, right? This airplane set 19 speed records back in this day. So, alright, let's see. I can't just rest it because it has no landing gear right now. So looking at this engine here, yeah, it's just glue that's supposed to go in that slot. You can see there's a little glue residue here already, right? Yeah, glue residue. The other 2 seem generally clean. So I'm going to try to attempt to glue this with a very minimal but enough so this thing doesn't just fall out. Also bear in mind, if you drop this thing, this little nose thing is gone. So you gotta be very careful. All right, let me pause. Okay, I'm back. I've been using this Gorilla Super Glue recently. I like it. It sets. There's no fidgeting, you know? You like want to stick it, it sticks. And it says Impact Tough formula, so hopefully when I put this in a suitcase later in that original packaging, hopefully that engine at least won't rattle off. But with my luck, the other three will rattle off in an airplane. Okay, so the landing gear, I'm going to put that on last because I'm going to always display it with the landing gear down. My IKEA cabinet doesn't really take these. It's too tall. But I will just plug it in here and just to show you what it looks like on the stand. So it's pointed upwards a little bit and it's canted, the design of this stand. I think that's done on purpose because, again, the text here, you know, it's only on one side, so it wants to be displayed like this so you can read what the thing is with a magnifying glass. That text, again, is so small. Okay, so that's a nice stand. I have no concerns about that falling off the airplane. Yeah, you can even see right there that little angle on that stud, hopefully. Okay, so if you wanted to, you could actually cover up these landing gear holes with these covers, of course, but that's not for me. Let's see how difficult it is to get these things in there. So the front one, boy, it's hard to tell. Well, I guess because it's conical somewhat. The front's a little shorter than the height of the rear. I'm going to guess the landing gear goes up front, and it does. Yeah, there's no way you can do it backwards because the pod is in the way. What I'm concerned about is, will this stay in there? It doesn't seem to want to. I don't think it's fully in there. You see that gap? So you gotta be really careful with these little airplanes. I feel like there's too much. I don't know if there's a lot of clear coat. I think this model might be clear coated. You can see a little bit in those holes. Or maybe these pins are too wide. Well, for the video, I'll just plug them in as well as I can. The rear one, there's actually a slot on the top and two pins. I don't know if there's a right or left, though. I think they're mirrored left and right side, so it doesn't matter. That doesn't want to stay in. It's not much of a friction fit going on. The recesses and the pins are really short because the wing itself isn't very thick. Let's see if I get my dental pick here and try to push that down. Yeah, I almost feel like you want to glue these in, but that's a serious commitment. Now look, that's the other side engine. So hopefully you guys understand how delicate these little models are. Far more delicate than a diecast car. You see, that doesn't want to go in so well. It just doesn't seat firmly. So yeah, I feel like these have to be glued in. But I'm afraid if I glue them in, I don't think I can even put them back in the original packaging, and I have to fly back to Asia in a little bit. You know what? This look angled, so maybe this is the wrong side as well. That could be it. Maybe that'll help out. No. Being plastic landing gear, I don't want to just push down on it. It'll snap the landing gear. Okay, I don't know if that's the proper sides. Maybe some sticky tack, poster board putty would help out. Let's see if this falls out. Well, I might be in luck. But now let me glue this other one back. Funny. So after I glued this one in, this one fell off. So basically, 1, 2, 3 had to be glued back. This one actually is still pretty rigid, so it seems quite intact. So I guess the landing gear okay for now. But anyways, let's take a look at this plane now. So it looks like it's brushed metal, and then it's clear coated, I'm thinking. But here they have different silver paint. You can see hopefully the different color. Hey, you can see my reflection. The thing's so bloody reflective. All right, so let's see. What are the graphics we have? We have some black triangles here on the ends. Nice little panel lines back here, super thin. There's a B-176 printed there. And then starting at the front end, get real close, hit the focus. Yeah, it's just a printed on canopy, of course. But I think that's probably the best method for something that small. Oh, no. Something fell off. Oh, the landing gear. That was another engine pod. Okay, so even this little landing gear flap has 430 on there. And then side windows for those 2 rear crew members. And then, yeah, some printing on the wings. And again, very shiny surfaces here. Trying to hit focus again. It's brushed, it's clear coated, I think. And then silver on these back ailerons again. Nice panel lines, very nice. The rear vertical. Got a nice tampo printed, I don't know, arrow point or whatever. All these graphics are tampos, there's no decals. I don't think they use decals in diecast airplanes. I don't know, I could be wrong, but that's what I'm guessing. I mean, I don't recall seeing decals on any of mine. But I could be wrong. What is this, for instance? Is that paint? I think some paint flaked off because that engine fell off. Yeah, that's a little flap of paint. I shouldn't touch that anymore. Okay, so that's it. Talked about some statistics, and let me put this on the turntable so you can actually get a better view. And again, let me pause and put some sticky tack in there. Well, guess what? So I put sticky tack in those rear landing gear, just a tiny bit, but then the last engine fell off. So I had to crazy glue all 4 engines back in, but oddly the big bomb thing hasn't fallen out. Alright, so let's just compare to these photographs here. Looks pretty good. Let's try this rear view. So I'm not at home. I don't have any other airplanes to compare to. This is the only airplane I have in my possession right now. But maybe in a future video I'll pull this out again if I get another airplane regarding bombers or something with a delta wing. Look at that rear. I don't know what this is, you know, what that thing is, but pretty good. And then the under. Boy, this thing is so. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty good representation, I think. Okay, so let's get this up here. Just covered a CD with some sandpaper and spray paint. But these lights I have are not bright enough to make it spin, something that heavy. So let me get a flashlight. Bear with me, it's a temporary setup. Alright, let's just try to get that flashlight out of the focal point. Focus. Sometimes the focus is so shiny, I'm surprised my camera can focus at all. So there it is in all its glory. Well, if you're thinking about collecting diecast airplanes, you just now realized how problematic some of these can be. This is not a cheap model. I bought it off eBay. you know, look it up yourself. But I just don't know how they could mount the engines a better way, and also the landing gear, because the wing is so thin. If there's no material to make a longer peg, it can't be done, right? So as problematic as it is, looking at it finished like this, I think it looks fantastic. And as you saw, compared to the photographs, well, it's up to you to decide if you think it's good enough. Anyways, I appreciate you guys watching today, and I guess I'll see you whenever I get another airplane in. Alright, bon voyage.